What up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet. I'm Marcus Grant with Michael F. Florio and Laquan Jones. How are we feeling on this Thursday? You're still in studio. Did you go home, Laquan, or did you just stay there overnight?
Nah, there's a bed in the back. We're good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yesterday, if you missed it, for our podcast, we were actually all three in the same location, which hadn't happened in quite a while. Fellas, I thought we made some magic yesterday.
We have to start taking some pictures and like timestamp when this thing's happen like this.
Oh man. Of course, we got the cheat sheet as we always do on Thursday. Always excited to have you guys in the chat. Throw any questions, comments, anything like that you got in there. We will have our Florio Film Festival review of the week. It was Gladiator. I say this like I think I'm like there's me and like two other people who get the joke. I will explain it later in the show. Anyway, what I wanted to start with this week had nothing to do with fantasy football. I guess it's fantasy football, but NCAA 25 came out on Monday. Unless you've been living off of Twitter, which good for you. You probably saw plenty of people anticipating it, getting hyped for it, and then playing it and putting screenshots and videos and all that kind of stuff up there. Florio, you actually got a copy of it, so I want your review of the long-awaited reboot of the college football video game of record.
I'll be honest that I did not play a ton of NCAA back in the day, but I was really excited for this one because I play Madden all the time outside of the months of September through January when, of course, I'm working. But the game has been awesome. It's so good that I played a game this morning before coming on here. I played a game on Tuesday before doing work. Like I've been staying up late playing it. It's awesome. It's I picked the ECU Purple Pirates. I started a dynasty. We are now ranked right now, so I'm really enjoying that. But it's a really fun game.
So why East Carolina?
Because growing up in New York, and Laquan, I think you could attest to this too. Like college football isn't the same in the Northeast as it is here. Right. Definitely not in the South, stuff like that. So I never really had a team growing up. I root for Syracuse for college basketball, but I was like, So I just solely picked off of the coolest name and uniform combination. And Purple Pirates with a gold helmet and a purple jersey, that's hard to beat.
Okay, so I know someone who he is an Angels fan, a Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim fan. He picked ECU because apparently that's where Mike Trout went to school. And I had no idea where Mike Trout went to
Really?
college. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. But he played at ECU, so he's like, I'm as a big-time Angels fan, I'm gonna pick the school that Mike Trout went to. I was like, oh, I mean, that's as good a reason as any. Like, I'm not hating on it. It just surprised me.
You could have given me 50 guesses where he played college, and I would not have guessed ECU.
Never would have guessed ECU in a million years, for sure. Let's dive into the chat, though. We got a few questions here. Cap for Life wants to know, what round do I grab McBride, Shakir, or Josh Jacobs? My first thing is I would say I would be getting Josh Jacobs ahead of Khalil Shakir. Fair?
Yes.
Fair.
Okay.
Yes.
Where are we drafting Trey McBride right now?
Third round.
He's like in that third or fourth round range for me.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I put it on Twitter the other day and it got a little stir, but like I really think I'm gonna rank Trey McBride as the tight end 1 right now. I haven't quite done it yet, but the more I think about it, the more I see reason to do so.
I mean, I don't hate it. Good quarterback, very little target competition. I don't see why he couldn't be that guy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this offense got completely better. I mean, Kyler Murray's back healthy. We see what Trey McBride can do with a healthy, Kyler Murray. So I'm sorry. I might be right with you, bro. Like, as soon as you say it, I'm going to back you right up.
Because to your guys' point, with Kyler, McBride led tight ends in fantasy points per game and in target share. And then Travis Kelce's getting up there in age. There's more target comp there. Laporta could have the same year as last year, just minus 3 touchdowns, and we would be calling it a disappointment, even though it would be a really good
Still a very good year, right? Because we're fickle like that, for sure. This one from Ryan Mark. This one's for you mostly, LQ. Evening from England, where It did not come home.
Oh, come on, man.
The 49er comparison the other day was hilarious. I didn't think so, but whatever.
Yes, it
Very
was.
good. Back to putting my sporting hopes on the Seahawks.
Ugh.
Good luck to
Yeah.
you, Ryan.
Yeah. It's a lot of pain, man. I thought we were over this hump, but yeah, we'll bring it home 2026.
Another one for you. Here, Laquan.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Wifey watching. What's up?
Sabrina checking in. Good to see you.
What's up, Sabrina?
What's up, Sabrina?
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. For sure. Just friend. Like, not even friend of the show. Just friend. It's good to see. Good to see the wife checking in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This one, though, from Mr. B. Keeper League, standard scoring, Kyron Williams or Josh Jacobs? That's a tough call
Kyron for me. Kyron.
Well,
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's Kyron.
Yeah.
I'm back and forth on Josh Jacobs because part of me thinks, Marshawn Lloyd is going to get a role in this offense and maybe get a lot of touches. But then part of me is like, maybe they just really decide they're going to just go all out with Josh Jacobs, even though that hasn't really been the Packers' way.
I do think it's possibility. Like, he could be the first running back that they don't use a 2-man committee with. But I also think he could just be dust. Like, he had a bad year last year.
It was not good last year. No, it was not good at all for Josh
No,
Jacobs.
it was really, really bad.
I
But
mean, that's why I
hoping-
drafted Marshawn Lloyd in a lot of best balls.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that, maybe last year was just a bad situation for him. There was no motivation to go out there, and he knew he had to leave to get paid and all this other stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I hope so, but you're not getting a discount on him. That's why I don't really draft him at all, because he had an awful year, and he's going exactly where he was last year.
It's too expensive.
No, for sure. A couple of teams released some throwback jerseys this morning. I guess it's just that time of year where teams start doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But let's see. The Jaguars were the first ones. They put these out, introducing the Prowler throwbacks. We were saying before the show, this was like Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew era Jaguars.
I like those. Those are kind of fire.
Those are kind of fire. Look, when you can pull off teal, then
You're the man.
really
I love teal.
I grew up in the '90s where teal was huge, because the Jaguars were rocking teal, the Charlotte Hornets were rocking teal. I think the Florida Marlins had teal uniforms.
Yes.
Teal was really, really big, and like teal. You wore teal jerseys and you drank Crystal Pepsi. That's what happened in the '90s.
Marcus, I don't know. You have a wider range, but in my opinion, I think '90s were the peak of sports jerseys.
There was a lot of variation, right? Because you did have some really, really cool ones, and then you had some teams doing some really weird things. I was actually telling this to Laquan a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you remember. There was a time, Kentucky basketball really had it rolling, and at some point they started letting the players kind of design the uniforms, and they came up with one where it was like denim. It wasn't actually made of denim, but the pattern and the design on it looked like denim.
Okay, that's a mistake.
It was awful. It was absolutely awful. They also had these ones with these wildcat scratches, slashes across, and those were pretty bad too. But you had things like the Jaguars. The Charlotte Hornets stuff was really, really kind of dope.
The Toronto Raptors is always my favorite.
Mr. B mentioned the Mighty Ducks. Yeah, the Mighty Ducks did have teal as well.
The Utah Jazz with the mountains.
Yeah,
I kind of like that one.
There were some good ones for sure.
New Jersey,
I think we're in the worst era of jerseys now, though. It's just they open up Microsoft Word and type the city in, and that's
why that's why the throwbacks are so popular, because the other team that did a throwback, the Atlanta Falcons, released their throwback that they're going to do for 3 games this year. Which
I like the helmet.
The red helmet is fire.
Mm-hmm.
But this also has a very kind of '90s feel to it as well. Mm-hmm. This was the Dirty Bird, Jamal Anderson kind of era, I think, of the Falcons. This I don't know who it was. Somebody
I like it a lot.
It might have been our pal Roto Pat.
Thinking
Doherty,
work done when I see that for some reason. I
Yeah,
don't know why.
Yeah, No, I think he did play. I think he played in these jerseys.
The helmet looks good,
for a
though.
little bit. I think it was Roto Pat or somebody tweeted that like, does Nike feel bad that the throwbacks are instantly better than anything that's being worn right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
They should.
Good.
Get back
Oh,
in
yeah.
the lab.
Roman reminded me the Vancouver Grizzlies also did have teal jerseys
Oh, that one was. I had the Mike Bibby one.
back in the Bryant Big Country Reeves days when they were doing that out there. Sharkman, we were talking jerseys here. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, sure.
We talk about whatever we want on this show.
It's the cheat
Yeah.
sheet.
That's what it is. But I guess we can take some questions here as well. This one from Ancillary Jabroni.
The names
round-
are always getting better.
Third
each
round,
week.
too early to draft MHJ and PPR. If you can get him in the third round, by all means, do it. Like I'm not
Steal.
seeing a lot of places where he's lasting until the third round.
Yeah.
So the answer is no. It's definitely not too early.
We
They're
said
stealing.
yesterday, borderline first round. So
Yeah.
third
Yeah.
is a steal.
Third is an absolute steal. So if you can get him there, I would 100% do that. Okay, Sharkman, you were getting on us for talking about jerseys, but you also said you're taking Brendan Rice with the first.
Hey,
pick.
yo.
And I look fight on forever, but no.
Where's he at? The Steelers? I mean,
He's the
Chargers?
Chargers. He's the Chargers.
Nah, Chargers not doing nothing this
He
year.
stayed.
Sorry,
He stayed.
Susie.
He stayed in Los Angeles. I'm sure he can, keep his same apartment for a little while, and then just,
Yeah.
commute to El Segundo for practice or something like that.
I'm hoping T.O.'s son makes the 49ers.
That would be
Ooh.
interesting. That would be interesting. Speaking of, did you see the story that T.O. said he wanted to join the Bucks, and like Tom Brady, I guess, didn't want him there?
Why?
I mean, I guess
I've recently played softball with T.O. He can still get you go out there and run some routes. No doubt about it.
My only thought from this is that after having to deal with Antonio Brown, like I think Tom Brady is just,
Oh, he's scarred.
he's
It's
just like, I
over.
can't, man. He's like,
No.
I can't.
He's like, I'm not ready for the
Personality.
tweets that are gonna follow.
I'm not ready for this. Like, I can't really do it. I don't, honestly, it was, like Tom Brady was like, Usher, you remind me of a wide receiver that I once knew. It just was sort of that thing.
I think
right
T.O.
there.
was still balling that year, too, with Johnny Manziel in that one league.
That indoor league,
that
right?
indoor
Yeah.
league,
No, he was definitely,
he was still
balling
out there getting it.
No, for real. No, for sure.
He is one of the the fastest dude I think I've ever seen, and he's 50.
I mean,
Freak athletes.
he's like in insane shape. Like he's one of those guys who's going to be in ridiculous shape. Right? He'll be 70 years old and like in ridiculous shape at some point.
Trying to race everybody coming
He
out
really
of
will be.
college.
He really will be. I think I know where you're going to go with this. Kyron Williams or Kenneth Walker. I guess we talked about Kenneth Walker being sort of an unknown quantity this year, didn't we?
Yeah, it's kind of like we're settling when you get him as your RB2. Like it's like ugh, but obviously Kyron Williams here.
Yeah. Are we
Agreed.
making it unanimous? And another one for Cap for Life. Go for Jamar Chase or wait for Puka? Is Camp for Life a Rams fan? Like, why are all these? Is this you? Are you? Is this your burner account, Laquan? What is this?
Why would it be a Dolphins logo if anything? Like, come on, it could be.
I mean,
better
to
than
throw
that.
us off the scent. That's why.
Cat for
Like,
life. Nah, that's not me.
it's just
My
to throw
hands
us
are
off the
right
scent. Like I'm gonna put if I put a Dolphins jersey up, I can pretend it's Troy King asking these questions. Something like that.
Oh man, shout out to Troy too, friend of the show.
Yeah, man,
Another
definitely
one.
friend of the show. TK, hopefully we maybe we'll see you in Canton.
Yeah, maybe.
For sure. Speaking of which, I hadn't planned to get on this, but Canton, the Fantasy Expo coming up in
Yes, it is.
about a month, a little less than a month.
Yeah.
Like
about
3 weeks.
About
Yeah.
3 weeks for that. The three of us will be there. We accept beers if any of you would like to, or
Yeah, tequila.
tequila shots
Yeah.
for Laquan. Whatever, but look forward to getting out there, reconnecting with some old friends, meeting some new people. The expo is always an amazing time. For those of you who have never been, if you are on the fence, I would strongly recommend going. I would also strongly recommend booking everything like right now. 'Cause,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough. Here you go. This is you defending yourself because Mr. Scampers is saying that Glizzy for life.
Yo,
Is,
come on,
is that
boss.
is that a joint account between you and Troy Glizzy for
No,
life?
no. That is
Step
all Troy.
boys.
The step. Yeah, there you go. Florio got it.
Um, obviously it's the off season still. I know we're into draft season, and so we're always trying to come up with fun content and that sort of thing. So shout out to our pal Nolan Gelbard, who runs the socials for us over at NFL Fantasy. He put together this. Let me see if I can find it. Our cheat sheet, build your lineup sort of graphic. I am struggling. I'm on the struggle bus with this.
I
Let
have
me
like
just find
3
it.
versions of it.
Let me just find the actual tweet, and I can do it that way. Here it is. So build your lineup. I'll actually just how about we just pull it up and just make it one big thing there. So you guys have seen this plenty of times. The $15 to build your fantasy lineup. Your quarterbacks: $5 Josh Allen, $4 Patrick Mahomes, $3 C.J. Stroud, $2 Anthony Richardson, $1 Dak Prescott. I won't read all of these because it will just get tedious, but you can sort of see what it is. You can also go to the NFL Fantasy handle on Twitter, and you can put together your lineups. Have you guys tinkered with a lineup that you like?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of kept it simple. Like, I kind of went right across. I mean, Josh Allen, Bijan, Amon-Ra, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London. That's my squad.
So you did you just went diagonally down.
Yeah.
Huh?
Kept it
I mean,
simple.
that's
That was
not
like version
bad.
3 that I settled on.
Oh, was it? Okay. I mean, that's not bad. I don't hate that at all. What did you put together, Florio?
Richardson, CMC, CD Lamb, Kyle Pitts, Drake London.
Oh, that's exactly the same one I did too.
No way.
That's exactly the one I did because I'm like, well, I was like, I want CMC and I kind of want CD. I'm like, well, 'cause that's $10 right there. Like I was like, I love Anthony Richardson at $2. It feels like a steal. I'm still in on Kyle. Like it just flowed. It just came off the fingertips like that.
I mean, a couple of my friends in the chat made theirs, and I think this was interesting. He said JT, Mahomes, CD Lamb, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, keep the change.
I did think about doing one right because I was like, my first one, I was kind of like, well, I could go Richardson and Bijan, and that's $6. And I go St. Brown, which gives me $9. I go Kyle Pitts, which gives me 11, and then like Chris Olave, which gives me 14. I still have like $1 left in my pocket. I can go get some Skittles or something like that. It's an interesting one. Burrow at $2, Bijan at $4, so you're at 6 there. Amon-Ra at 3 gives you 9. Kyle Pitts gives you 11, and then Devontae makes it an even $15. That's not a
Nice.
bad lineup.
Pitt's getting some love. It's Kyle Pitts season.
Yeah,
Getting
man,
excited.
it is. I mean,
Always
are
has
you,
been.
Are you happy that you're on the? Are you happy you're on the bandwagon?
I'm
Laquan?
cozy. I'm cozy right now on the train, and it's smooth sailing right now until it's not, and then I leave.
I know, like you're just sitting, like you're the guy on the bus that's like standing next to the doors in the back and like just ready.
Just ready to go. Like,
You know-
I'm not gonna stay long if it's bad.
Somebody gets on the bus, they randomly start singing a song out loud and asking for change, and Laquan's like, "Well, I'm off. That's it.
Yep.
I'm out. I'm getting off the bus."
Florio, New York transportation. You know.
I was always the dude on the subway who stood right by those doors. They'd open. I'd be like, everyone get on and off. And then I'm staying right here in those doorway.
It gets crazy as soon as you sit down.
Well, yeah. I mean, plus when you sit down on like big city transportation, like it's especially when you get to your stop and you got to fight through a million people to try to get out, and you're like, wait,
Yeah.
don't leave yet. I'm still trying. It's a whole.
The amazing thing are the people who legitimately sit down, fall asleep, and then stay
Yeah.
asleep until they are at their station, and they just immediately wake up and walk
I
off.
can't. I never
That is way
understood
too
that.
comfortable.
That's way too comfortable. Like
I'm
I
too
would be
paranoid for that.
would be terrified of missing, especially like, I guess if my stop were, if I was at the end of the line, where it's like the last stop, maybe I could do that. But if I'm like, somewhere halfway along the line, like there's zero chance I'm trying to knock out and go to sleep.
When I was working in Midtown, I was halfway through the line, and I tried to become one of those people because I had to be in work by 6 a.m. So I'm on the subway at 5 a.m. trying to get extra sleep, and
Whoa.
without fail, like 3 or 4 stops before mine, I'd wake up and be like too afraid to try to go back to sleep in case I miss it.
Yeah, zero
Dunzo.
chance.
End up somewhere you don't want to be.
Right, exactly. Then all of a sudden you're like, in a different city and everything. A couple of more lineups real quick. Mr. Scampers has Anthony Richardson, CMC. So that gives you, $7 right there. Kyron puts you at 9. Amon Ra will, wait, where are we going? No, sorry. Wait, you can't do CMC and Kyron. Or you can't do Kyron and CMC.
Scampers makes his own rules.
Yeah,
I've seen
apparently.
multiple people take other positions and put them in as a flex.
I'm like, that's not how this game works, man. What are we doing? Let's try this one. Sharkman has Josh Allen for 5. CMC, so that puts you at 10. Amon Ra gets you 13.
I love that he wrote out Saint Brown.
Same
Right?
Brown. I love
That's
that.
amazing. And then Rashid White, but you're missing one. Like you're one
Keep the
position
change.
He
short.
doesn't
Apparently.
even want a tight end.
I don't even need a tight end. Screw it. I don't need a tight end.
Tight ends are bad, I guess.
Yeah, Mr. Scampers basically is like I can do whatever I want.
He's a cat.
You're like
People love cats.
You're like you're like
Friend of the show,
Fuck
Joel
it, man.
Smith
I do what I
tweeted
want.
he'd go Richardson, Bijan, Garrett Wilson, Kincaid, and then CMC at the flex. But like, I didn't know we could do that. We could
Yeah,
take
like, I
people
felt like
from
it-
other
Like people just doing their own.
because
thing,
Travis
man.
Etienne is my flex then.
Right?
Like, yeah, I don't know. We're just making up our own rules here. That's not how this game's supposed to go. Whatever. Anyway, no, it's cool. I'm glad everybody's engaging with it. It looks like it is getting some engagement. But go over to Twitter, find the NFL Fantasy account, and you can post your lineup as well for that. Time for fantasy for Florio's Film Festival. Too many F words on this show. Florio's Film Festival. So a couple weeks ago when the Gladiator 2 trailer came out, both Florio and Laquan admitted that they had never seen the original Gladiator. So that made it an easy call to watch Gladiator. So I said this for the show started. Gladiator. So that is a throwback because this movie won Best Picture in 2001. And Elizabeth Taylor, the lovely, talented, Hollywood icon Elizabeth Taylor announced the Best Picture award. She may or may not have been fully sober. She was kind of slurring her words. When she opened the envelope and she read the name, she said, Gladiator, which was like an inside joke between me and my friends for years. But now whenever I say the title of the movie, like I say it like that. And I say it and I immediately realize that like no one around me understands the reference because it was like a joke between me and like 4 of my friends in college. But I will never stop saying Gladiator, just like that. This movie could have been called How to Be a Hater.
Yo.
Right?
Boy, oh boy. Man, there was a lot of hate in this movie.
How to be? I mean, because Commodus was just a hater in every
jump.
From the jump. I mean, killed his dad. Obviously, had Maximus enslaved. Tried to have him killed. He ended up as a slave. Then, was mad because everybody loved Maximus and didn't like him. Then halfway through the movie, he started smoking that Jamie Lannister pack and was trying to get with his sister.
Yeah.
Just nothing but pure haterade from Commodus the entire film.
He had to go. He had to go.
I mean, Florio, your immediate takeaway from having seen Gladiator now.
It's an awesome movie. I would easily rewatch it very soon. Look, I'm sure to you, if you see Gladiator first, you might be like, "Oh, Game of Thrones has some Gladiator vibes to it." To me, I was like, Gladiator has some Game of Thrones vibes to it, and
no, it does.
And I really enjoyed that. The combat was awesome. A lot of iconic lines. They also did a good job of the whole movie. I'm like, the dude is a gladiator. Like, he's going to die. This is. But the whole movie, I'm hoping that maybe he doesn't. Maybe they do let him get free. And then I hate the way he went out, but I also kind of like the way he went out.
But he went out like a champ. He went out like a champ.
But it was like, you had to you knew you couldn't win, so you had to stab. That part I wasn't a fan of. But yeah, it was a really great movie and top 2 of easily of the ones that we've watched. It's weird because it's like, how do you compare that and The Big Lebowski? They're completely different.
They're so very different movies. Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's between Gladiator and Godzilla for me as the top 2.
I mean, you talk about the end with Maximus getting stabbed, like Commodus, hater, like everything about it, just Hater.
If I send his face to the chat, just know I'm hating.
Just know I'm hating. Right, exactly. So, I mean, you texted, you put in Slack this morning, Laquan, that, like, now that you've seen it, you were like, why are they making Gladiator 2?
Yeah, because it's really, really a good movie. Like, it's up there in the tiers where it should not be touched. So we're
It's a
kind of
perfect movie.
Yeah, so the sequels usually don't follow up, and especially 24 years later. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of nasty work for me.
Yeah, Sharkman going to watch Gladiator 2. Look, I admit, I'll probably go see it when it comes out.
I'm gonna see it. Is it going to be a continuation, or is it gonna be like completely new people
No,
and
I
a new
don't-
storyline?
I think it's the kid that grows up.
Okay.
I think it's Lucius who grows up. Although I think the actor who played Lucius as a kid, I think he's in the movie, but I think he's playing a different character. If I read
Oh,
right, I
wow.
might
That's
have
pretty cool.
misread that. Yeah, like I don't think it picks up immediately, like where Gladiator leaves off, but I think it's some years later. After Maximus
Gotcha.
and that whole.
I'm
thing.
only watching because Denzel's in it, to be honest.
Honestly,
Yeah,
because
that's
that's kind of what got me. I was like, I don't know about this, and then I started seeing all the clips of Denzel and stuff, and I'm like, all right, man, I'm back.
Where he still talks like regular old Denzel.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, because my first thought was like, that's weird, and like everybody was commenting on it, but then I stopped to think about it. I'm like, well, it's not like ancient Romans had British accents either.
Very true.
Like. We've all become conditioned, like when we see like movies with ancient time periods and they all speak British, we're just like, oh yeah, that's just how they like. No, they didn't talk like that either. Like, so like if Denzel wants to talk like a dude from Brooklyn, let Denzel talk like a dude from Brooklyn. That's fine.
I'm hoping
They
Training Day
were-
energy.
So something that really always interests me is like the fact that like outside of technology, life was pretty similar to how it was now, thousands of years ago. Like they had shops and all of that, they bars, everything. So like going to the Coliseum would be like going to a football game nowadays.
Yeah, it's like going to
But-
SoFi.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing I was wondering is how did they sell tickets?
That's a good question. Like, I don't know if they did.
I don't think they did.
I think it's just like, hey man,
They
there were
had to
doors
make
and you
money,
just come on
right?
in.
Like
I don't know. Like, that's
What
a good
money
question.
did they
like,
have?
right? Like, I don't know how they, I don't know that they had like ticket sales. Like, they certainly didn't have, StubHub or anything like that. Like, I think
they
they just opened the
scalpers out
gates.
there.
I mean, like their scalpers were actually like literal like people taking scalps. Like that's what that was. I can't. I think they just opened the gates. I mean, I think getting to the Coliseum looked sort of like getting into Hard Rock Stadium for the Copa America final. Like it was
Oh,
like,
no.
I'm guessing the first
Undefeated.
level is all the rich people and the upper decks are all the not so rich people.
oh, I would think they had like luxury boxes, like for sure, right? Because that's where where Lucilla and the Sinners and stuff were hanging. Like they weren't in Gin Pop,
No.
with the regular fans.
Hey, they fed the people too. Free bread.
Free bread and circuses. That's all it
Hey,
was.
They are just way too open with death too. Like they're like, you're gonna die, go enjoy it, and they all just run out and do what they say. Like I'd be like
Yeah.
gladiators, let's turn on everyone and
Yeah.
take them all out.
I mean, the start of the movie, they're about to go to battle, and Maximus is like, look, if you find yourself riding alone in the green fields with the sun on your face, don't worry about it, you're dead. Like, and everybody just laughed. They're like, ha, 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 ha. I'm like, nah, man.
There's more to life.
like, nah.
The scene where they send him out and they're like, go die an honorable death. I'm like, you could not get me to walk out there. Like,
No.
you just couldn't.
Man.
I would be fighting. I have weapon. I have weaponry now. I'm good. I would take you out before making you take out my boys that I live with now.
Yeah.
So, you know how I know I'm getting older is that when, like, it's Maximus talking to, Caesar, to Marcus Aurelius, and he's like, describe me what your home is like. And he's like, I have this small house. It's not fancy. It's on a hill. He's like, I've got plants growing. I got pear trees. There are horses nearby. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. I'm like, I was like, I want to go to there. I'm like, he just had this, like, he just talked about his like quiet little house with like an orchard and some like, horses and plants. And so I'm like,
Chilling.
that's my new retirement goal. Minus, being sold into slavery.
He's
Yeah.
the best hand-to-hand combat fighter there is, and all he wants to do is go.
He just
go
wants to go
tend his
home,
crops.
man.
Yeah.
I just
want to go home.
I just want to go home, man. I just want to see my wife and kid. I just want to grow some some crops. That's all I want to do. I think I've had enough of this, for sure. man.
Big Tip said there was metal, silver, and gold coins that were.
They did. I know they had some form. Like the Romans did have some form of money. But like you have to carry a separate actual coin purse, right? Because you didn't have they didn't have dollar bills. They didn't have
No.
Paper money.
I was
So,
like, yo, if they're lining up with their coins, like, couldn't people rob them? Like I don't. That's what I was thinking while watching.
What is
I
law?
mean, life was definitely tougher back then, for sure.
People's expected age was probably like 36. Like,
I think that's why they're okay with dying, because they're like, okay,
Yeah.
I could live another 2 months.
I mean,
yeah, I'd be dead next week anyway.
I feel like the average age thing is because like either you died as an infant or you lived to like 70. Like it was like there was very little in between. Like if you somehow made it past infancy, chances are you were going to live a while.
Yeah.
But like it was dicey whether or not you got to 2.
That's pretty wild.
Romans. So that's all it was. Quick question, quick before we get out of here, real quick. This is a throwback. Fred Taylor or Sean Alexander?
Oh,
I think Sean Alexander was a little bit more. I think he had a little bit of longer
give it to
run.
Sean.
I think a little bit. Plus,
That 1 year he had was amazing.
Yeah, I think I had him the year he scored like I think 4 touchdowns in 1/2 or something like that. I'm pretty sure I had him on my fantasy team. It was like a Sunday night game or something. I think I had him on my team for that one. So shout out to Sean Alexander. I did say that I had a movie lined up for next week as well, and I actually remembered it without having to go to my notes. Have either of you seen Kung Fu Hustle?
yes, I've seen it.
All
It's a
right.
good
Well,
movie.
Florio hasn't seen it, and that's
It's a
good
good
enough.
movie.
That's good enough.
It's a good movie.
You knew the answer before you asked me.
I mean, I did. I was more asking Laquan whether or not
Yeah.
Laquan had seen it because
I
I
can
knew
watch
that
it
you
again.
I knew that you hadn't seen it. Kung Fu Hustle, a fantastic film. Stephen Chow is the director and the star of it. Also did another movie called Shaolin Soccer.
Yes,
which is
another
very
legendary
similar.
movie.
But Kung Fu Hustle, I think, is the one. So that'll be our film for next week.
Ooh, and it's only an hour and a half. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah,
3-hour movie to
so-
2.5.
Peek behind the curtain, like we were talking about, watching Gladiator for today, and like Florio was looking, he's like, 2.5 hours. Oh,
Full disclosure, I totally forgot. I usually watch it on Tuesday, and then yesterday we were all together and we were like Gladiator, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch it tonight. I have softball, and I was like 2.5 out. I made it work though. I watched it. I enjoyed it.
I admit, like, 'cause I started watching it last night. I will, be honest. Like, I've seen it before, but I finished it this morning, like, half an hour before we started.
That was my fallback. I was like, if I don't finish it last night, I'm gonna have to wake up early and watch it.
Yeah. Kung Fu Hustle is bonkers, not in a different way
Yeah.
than The Raid. Like, it is bonkers, but not in quite the same way as The Raid.
A lot of ridiculousness going on.
Ridiculousness. So, all right. I think that's gonna do it. By the way, side note: we're gonna try and get our pal James Coe on here sometime soon
Yes.
because James is also great to talk about all this pop culture stuff, and he's just a fun dude to talk. We tried to get him on today. He's in Hawaii, and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't come on
super
from Hawaii.
jealous, by the way.
I wouldn't come on from Hawaii for us either, bro. So, not mad about it at all. In the meantime, that'll do it for this edition of the Cheat Sheet. Thanks to Susie for putting up with our nonsense and getting us up on the interwebs. Thanks to all of you, of course, for jumping in the chat and participating here. We are certainly grateful for all of that as well. Back with you on Monday for another edition of the podcast, the NFL Fantasy Football Show, which, by the way, please like, subscribe, tell 2 friends to tell 2 friends, the whole 9. In the meantime, for Florio, for Laquan, I am Marcus. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Talk to you next week.